What's going on? It's just me. Just thought I had a couple minutes free today, so I figured we could probably hang out for a little bit. See what's going on with you, see what's going on with me. I I had this really great experience last night where I got to talk to my mom and I got to see this photo of my grandfather that I'd never seen before. He was just kind of this really cool guy. So I've been thinking about all the different things about my life and his life, kind of in parallel. Because I've done a few paintings throughout the time that are like on that kind of vibe. He was a chauffeur and a butler, and I forget what else he did. He was in the army. I know that. He died in his 30s, so like I never got to meet him, but I've always heard all these stories about him throughout my life. So it's just kind of interesting how it all kind of comes together. I've been trying to like get around these ideas recently with art on what I'm going to do next, what my next big thing is. You know, I got this show coming up and I need all the good vibes I can get on that. So that's kind of my big theory on that. I want to kind of work on that. I got to write out some ideas and maybe draw some stuff and then frame some things, which will be cool. They're basic frames that I got from like IKEA. Um, I've made it a point throughout the years to not go crazy when I have to do framing for shows because like it's just so expensive. You can easily spend thousands of dollars on getting things framed. So I've made it a point. Would you ever do acid and do a self-portrait? I mean, it's an interesting question. I don't think I've ever thought about doing it, but I mean, I probably need like some type of person to wrangle me, just so I didn't like wander off. But yeah, why not? I don't see why not. So yeah, IKEA frames, just get them and have them. You can just use them multiple times for multiple things and all this different types of art stuff. But I don't know. I've always liked them. I've always liked IKEA when it comes to kind of picking up stuff. So in that, uh, you want to look at a sketchbook? We haven't looked at a sketchbook since the last show, and I thought it would be something fun we could do. I know a lot of these are interesting. That sounds cool. Could you do acid and make a series of self portraits and publish them as a set? I mean, you could. I don't think I have. I don't think I have like the need to do that. I guess it's kind of the question. Let's see it. Oh, I see. You're a bad influence. No, I don't think I'm gonna do that. I appreciate the idea though. I mean, you should do it though and see how that goes. I think that would be kind of fun, a little funky, you know, to just work outside of said box. I think it's always funny how like everybody always says people should work outside of work outside of your comfort zone, do all these things, and I always laugh at those people because I'm just like, I mean, you could do it. You could do it. I'm bad at art. How do you know that Acid U is not amazing at art? Come on, man. You got to be willing to skate those paths, you know? Go for those weird little directions that you want to see. I'm a digital artist major. I do 3D stuff. So it's not that bad. Well, see, but that's cool though. But that would be interesting. I'd be interested to see like a digital artist do a self portrait, to be honest. Like, I never hear about digital artists even doing self portraits. Like, is that a normal thing? Does that happen? Bring it down closer to my level. Is that like a thing that like digital artists do? Do they do a lot of self portraits? I guess I've never seen any. When I think about it, a lot of traditional artists do a lot of self portraits, like to a degree that is almost self indulgent. But here's a little sketchbook we can look through. So I've always loved the game Dominoes as a kid and then as an adult. It's always been like a fun game for me. So I always wanted to kind of design my own dominoes, and I always thought it was interesting. And I was always kind of working on these strange little illustrations. What'd you say? I don't think so, but there are digital artists that are good with a tablet and pen. I get a lot of freedom to make mistakes with stuff like Adobe and After Effects in Adobe Illustrator. I used to use Adobe. I kind of got out of it. I like Procreate a lot better now because I'm only doing stuff for like shirt stuff or patches. I'm not really doing them anymore for anything else. Like I'm not doing website design anymore. I'm not doing excuse me. I'm not doing all these other types of kind of things. Those illustrations look very punkish. Yeah, in a lot of ways. Yeah. I can show you. We'll get back to this. I can show you because I have them on my jumpsuit, my show jumpsuit that I do. I made a couple of patches a couple of years ago for my show jumpsuit. I keep saying show jumpsuit. And then I had them embroidered. So I did like these, and I did that one. And then there's all my stickers. I used to do those. I still do those on occasion. Um, so for my stickers, I did like the crowns, which are always fun to give out for shows and stuff. And then I also did my luchador. And these are all like silly little ones I used to do. But I did them with Procreate. So that was kind of my, I won't say my attempt at digital art because I definitely had went to art school and like they had us do stuff. So I did those. But before then, I used to just hand make a lot of stickers. That's what we used to do back in the day. So you would do stuff like that, or you would do stuff like that. It's my old. This is my Switch. It's yellow. Um, but it was fun. Let me see. What'd you say? You could be pretty good graphic artist if you wanted to, despite logos and stuff. That 747 was really nice. Thank you. I mean, I went to art school. They taught us how to do. I did not make this shirt. Um, they taught us how to do like all this design stuff. So we definitely did the design stuff. It's just a question of I don't know, I didn't have a passion about it. I guess that was kind of the thing. I was making all this digital art and I felt very what's the word I want to look for? I felt stifled because I wanted to make like physical paintings and stuff. Like this guy. And so it was just kind of one of those things I did that was, I don't know, it was like, I was doing murals a lot. I had a mural business. I was doing murals a lot. It was fun, but it was also kind of exhausting. So I tried to go to art school so that I could get a digital media degree, and I just didn't love it. I didn't love it. I'd already been to art school before, and I'd gotten my like associates, I guess, and it was cool, but it was just I don't know. I didn't love art school. I guess was probably the biggest problem. I loved all the cool people I met. I loved all the insanely talented artists that taught me all these tricks that I didn't know. I loved all that stuff. but I don't know. It just it didn't it didn't stick, so to speak. But that was like, how old am I now? That was like 23 years ago. So, uh, did the associate's degree help you land any gigs or jobs? No, not really. I mean, it helps to name drop where you went to school. Like, people were very impressed by that. But I don't think it really changed too much of what I was already doing. It definitely didn't change pricing. Like, you need a good portfolio, and that's kind of the big thing. But I mean, it can initially give you some great opportunities. Like, plus, it sounds good in interviews and stuff like that. Like, I went to SCAD. SCAD was interesting. It was just tiring at the same time, if that's anything to say. Would you say an associate's degree even matters compared to a portfolio? I don't want to talk people out of going to art school because I think art school is really important. I think a great portfolio will get you the job. I think the degree might get your portfolio looked at in the first place. If people don't already know who you are and they haven't already seen your work, they're just seeing like a name and then a folder, it will sometimes make them open the folder. But if you work at it long enough, like, you've got an audience already. You know what I mean? Like, you're already there. You're already doing stuff. I think I showed you this one already. Oh no, I didn't show this one. Okay, we'll go with this one. All right. So what do we say? Dominoes. Ooh la la. Um, and then I was like working on this. Like, this is like years upon years ago. I can tell because of this part. Um, just your style changes as years go by, so you realize, like, you're willing to kind of the freeness in which you make art. You're kind of noticing that you're less second guessing yourself. So this whole idea came about because a fan of mine who was an artist wanted to see what my work was like in introverse, I guess. So instead of on white, it was going to be on black and then white ink, kind of like a negative painting in a way, like an X-ray. But I didn't like the idea. Like, I did it and then I was like, I don't know. I do so much with like grays and white and then black that it just seemed like the wrong idea to move away. Like a charcoal painting. Yeah. Like a charcoal painting. That's a valid, very valid one where you take an eraser and then you draw back the images. So I had already done it before, but I never loved it. You know, I never loved the idea. Hello, producer Tom. How are you? The cat. One of the cats. Have you ever done those? The charcoal paintings are the worst thing I've ever experienced. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. Um, yeah, I hated them too when I was doing them, honestly. It's so. Charcoal doesn't feel good on your skin, and it just gets everywhere. Just everywhere. Like, you feel it, you end up with it on your nose, on your face, in your eyes, in your ears, in your nose, in your mouth. Just everywhere. It's all over your clothes. It's a very messy medium, and although the artwork can be really beautiful, it can be kind of horrible at the same time to just do these things and go these directions. The funny thing is, like, when I look at these, like, I've never, ever, ever gone back to this kind of crazy erratic style. I changed what I was using after this. I wasn't using these pens anymore. I more have like these ink brushes that I have that I use all the time now. So my work looks pretty different, but it's interesting to me to see these again for like the first time. I even did some long ones, or I did some pinups and stuff like that. I want to show you this one, and then I want to show you something that I've done recently, so you get like an idea. That isn't just this painting. All right. So, uh, I definitely had this dream, and it was brought on by several, probably, probably like several. Hmm. Trying to think of the best way to put this. So, I mean, we're already talking about acid. So I think I was just really high at the time, and I fell asleep, and then I had this dream that I was like walking naked in a cabin, and I got to the cabin. I see this hair on the ground, and I pull it, and when I pull it, it pulls a dread out of the back of my head, and then there's like it makes like a loud pop noise, and then everything turns red as the blood comes out. And as it turns red, I sit down and I'm just kind of trying to figure it out. And then I realize I'm inside of a giant red snow globe. It was in a cold cabin during a dream. What is How do you feel about cubism? I never understood it or enjoyed it. Cubism is kind of one of those weird little things that's like a weird genre of art that kind of came about and people got really into it. And like a lot of us don't get it, honestly. Um, and it's kind of ugly sometimes. It's one of those weird things where you have to kind of embrace the ugliness of it and then it works a little better. I don't hate it. It's not my favorite, but I don't hate it. I mean, there's a lot of great artists outside of Picasso that people can look at that did cubism that was really really impressive actually. So a lot of times what I tell artists in general is if you see a type of art that you're interested in and you don't and the main artist that you see is not your favorite, look at other artists who did it. There's so there's like trillions of different artists for every genre that has come out. So you just kind of have to figure out how to just, I don't know, embrace the strangeness of it and see it for whatever weirdness it was. I want to make these salt and pepper shakers one day. So I'm going to make these guys, and they're going to be huge and ceramic and ridiculous and unnecessary. See, you should turn that nightmare into a bigger painting. That story alone would make an interested in that kind of art in a gallery. I don't know that I worry about galleries anymore. Like I definitely do gallery shows, but I don't worry about galleries anymore. It's kind of one of those things where you realize you don't necessarily need them. So that's right, Takis. Very healthy. I'm trying to think. So like this is a painting I did just recently. It's mixed media. It's got a lot kind of going on with it. But this is more kind of what I do now. Let me say. So like I said, mixed media. Some is ink, some is watercolor, some is some type of pastel, I think. So I did those, but I've also been doing a lot of work. Like for the art show that's coming up, I did these. So these are going to be the ones that I'm going to do for the show. I got to frame these actually before the show comes up. So that's kind of like the big plan. And then I'll see after the show what I want to do next. So with the IKEA frames that I showed you, like I'm gonna put these in that for the show that's coming up. Let me see. What'd you say? What'd you say? Hey, baby. Okay. I'll be ready in a sec. Do you have any disturbing artwork? I used to like those old 2000s PlayStation commercials with the body horror. I was never really a horror artist. I guess I used to draw nightmares. I used to paint nightmares, and those were kind of like my closest thing to that. But no, I don't. I don't really have any of those. Those crows look nice, like Edgar Allan Poe stuff. Thank you very much. My wife and I were joking about that this morning. And I'm like, wouldn't it be weird if you heard Edgar Allan Poe's voice and he was like, "Hi guys," and Telltale Hearts and stuff. Or like, you have like this idea of what these people sound like in your head, but you don't really have like a real idea of what their voices sound like. So I always wondered that. It was kind of a funny, silly thing we talked about. All right, so I'm gonna go eat dinner. I hope you have a great day, a great dinner. Thank you for hanging out with me. Please subscribe, like, and share with my channel. We got 400 finally, so that's cool. And I think we're not 600 anymore. I think we're like 690, like 590 something. So, yeah, I shall talk to you later. Have a great one. Thank you so much. Painter out. Ciao. Bye.